At the very top, let's get you the latest on the world's largest democratic election in India. India's Prime Minister, the senior BJP leader Narendra Modi, on Saturday held rallies in the eastern state of Jharkhand for the general elections. Addressing a rally in Palamu, Prime Minister Modi underscored the achievements of his government and warned against the dangers posed by the Congress and its allies. The Prime Minister highlighted the significance of each vote and the transformative impact that it can have on the nation.
आपके एक वोट ने ऐसा काम किया कि पूरी दुनिया भारत के लोकतंत्र की ताकत को सलाम करने लग गई थी। आपने 2014 में अपने एक वोट से कांग्रेस की महाभ्रष्ट सरकार को हटा दिया था। आज भारत का पूरी दुनिया में डंका बज रहा है।
And Prime Minister Modi also campaigned in Jharkhand's Lohardaga to garner support for his party. Addressing the gathering, the Prime Minister criticized the Congress party and its allies for what he alleged is a history of corruption.
आज संभव ही नहीं है जिस बाल्टी में छेद किया हो उसमें कितना ही पानी भरो, बाल्टी भरेगी क्या? बाल्टी भरेगी क्या? यहां वो भ्रष्टाचार का छेद ऐसा लगा हुआ है, सीधा पाइप उनके घर में जाता है। ऊपर से रुपया निकालो, नीचे से पाइप में उनके घर में पहुंच जाता है। झारखंड इन्हीं मुसीबतों से गुजरा है। आप देखिए पेपर लीक का मामला, इस राज्य में कोई ऐसी एग्जाम नहीं है, कोई ऐसा पेपर नहीं है जो लीक ना होता हो। मेरे नौजवानों का क्या होगा भाई? और मैंने देखा कि झारखंड सरकार में बैठे हुए लोग सुधरने वाले नहीं हैं, तो मुझे दिल्ली से ही डंडा चलाना पड़ेगा। और इसलिए मोदी ने ये पेपर लीक वाले जो माफिया है ना, उनके विरुद्ध में एक बहुत कड़ा कानून बना दिया है।
And Prime Minister Modi also visited Bihar on Saturday and held an election rally in Darbhanga. The Prime Minister is scheduled to hold an election rally in Uttar Pradesh's Kanpur as well. Campaigning for the third phase of Lok Sabha elections is on in full swing. The Home Minister and senior BJP leader Amit Shah held election rallies in Gujarat. Addressing a public meeting in Valsad, Amit Shah noted that the prosperity and upliftment of the tribal society has always been the priority of the BJP. The Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath is in central India's Madhya Pradesh, where he held a rally in Ashoknagar in the Guna Lok Sabha constituency. Jyotiraditya Scindia is contesting the election from Guna on a BJP ticket. The opposition Congress party leader Priyanka Gandhi Vadra addressed a rally in Gujarat's Banaskantha. In order to garner support in favor of the party candidate Aditya Yadav, the former Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister and Samajwadi Party Supremo Akhilesh Yadav is holding a rally in Gonor, which is in Uttar Pradesh. The Samajwadi Party Supremo and the party leader Dimple Yadav, in fact, Akhilesh Yadav's wife, was holding a roadshow in Uttar Pradesh's Mainpuri. Meanwhile, the Rashtriya Janata Dal leader Tejasvi Yadav to hold multiple rallies in Bihar. The third phase of the Lok Sabha elections will be held on the 7th of May. 93 constituencies from 12 states will go to the polls. Of the 10 seats going to the polls in the third phase in Uttar Pradesh on the 7th of this month, Mainpuri is a key constituency. One of the key constituencies for the Samajwadi Party as well and the BJP. Dimple Yadav is Samajwadi Party's candidate from Mainpuri this time round after the demise of Mulayam Singh Yadav. Amritpal Singh, our correspondent, caught up with her on the campaign trail. Let's listen to what she said.
Of the 10 seats that go to polls in Uttar Pradesh on the 7th of May, one key seat is that of Mainpuri, from where Dimple Yadav, the sitting MP from this seat. What does the contest look like when we talk about the whole of the state of Uttar Pradesh?
India Bloc Alliance and the Samajwadi Party is doing quite well, and we will see unexpected results in these elections because what I believe is there's a lot of problem regarding the youth, regarding the farmers, regarding the women, and as well as regarding the policies that has been, carried forward by the present government.
But the BJP claims that it has what they call a double-engine sarkar. They say they are in the center, they are in the state, they've led to a lot of development, and that is why people will vote for them.
There has been management failures. There has not been any kind of investment in the state, and that is why we don't have job opportunities for the youth here.
Okay. Even while you claim that you have the support, your opponents attack you, saying you're a dynastic party.
I think if he's saying like that, he's questioning the whole process of democracy, because we as individuals are going to the people of the country and we are asking for their support. Now it is up to the people whether they support us or they don't support us. Rahul
Gandhi filed the nomination papers from Rai Bareli. The BJP alleges that he is scared to go to Amethi. He had consulted Akhilesh Yadav.
It is the party decisions from where which candidate has to fight, and it depends upon the party.
Okay. Are you confident you are retaining this seat?
Yes, I'm very much confident. I'm getting a lot of respect, love of the people of this constituency.
So Dimple Yadav, they're saying that she is receiving love and affection of the people. We'll have to see whether that converts into votes for her and her party and the India Alliance. With cameraman Yogesh Kumar, this is Amritpal Singh in Mainpuri, Uttar Pradesh.
Well, at the invitation of the Election Commission of India, 75 delegates from the election management bodies of 23 countries have arrived in India to witness the world's largest elections unfold. The election body is holding this election visitors program for the foreign visitors to familiarize themselves with the nuances of India's electoral system and the best practices used here. The delegates are from Bhutan, Mongolia, Australia, Madagascar, Fiji, Kyrgyz Republic, Russia, Moldova, Tunisia, Seychelles, Cambodia, Nepal, the Philippines, Sri Lanka, Zimbabwe, Bangladesh, Kazakhstan, Georgia, Chile, Uzbekistan, the Maldives, Papua New Guinea and Namibia. They are taking part in this event which has started today. The election fever has gripped parts of India and many states are all decked up for the third phase of polling on the 7th of May. Although the arrangements are in place, the searing heat has thrown a serious challenge to the administration and the Election Commission. Ravi Daman reports from down south in Karnataka.
The heat is on, quite literally so, in the peninsular India, breaking records of past many decades. The heatwave conditions have made life miserable in vast parts of southern India. Many state governments are taking preventive measures. Kerala has already declared holidays in the schools. But areas which go to polls on 7th of May are facing a serious challenge. The first problem is being faced by the leaders who are campaigning for the votes. Take the case of Union Minister and BJP candidate for Dharwad Lok Sabha constituency, Prahlad Joshi. As mercury soars northwards, Prahlad decided to move early in the day and join many during their regular morning walks. The meeting served dual purpose, connecting with the voters and yet managing to beat the heat. Statewide, other candidates are also taking precautions of evading the heat and doing campaigning either in the morning or in the evening. But the real challenge is for the district administration. Surging mercury has prompted a series of steps by the officials to ensure that the voting doesn't get affected.
Conducted in the peak summer, that is in May 7th, we have elections in Dharwad. So in such a situation, heat wave guidelines and what are the precautions to be taken and what are the guidelines to be adopted. Election Commission has already given a directions on that. We are ready with the adequate medicines required for this heat related illness. Already we have distributed, supplied polling station wise, say ORS packets and other heat wave related, illness related medications. Whatever precautionary measures are required, we have already given all this medical kit to the polling station wise polling staff. And apart from that, we are going to deploy one staff from the medical and health department in the polling station. In case of any emergency or any requirement, our staff will extend the health support from our side.
The authorities have also streamlined deployment of ambulances and medical staff in and around the polling booths. One health worker will be deployed in all the polling booths and provision for ORS packets will also be made.
And especially we are giving focus to the senior citizens because they are very prone to this, senior citizens and persons with disabilities. So these people have been given special focus and special queues have been formed and they are ensured proper shade is provided and proper sitting arrangement is provided, extra chairs have been provided, and wherever there is heat and we have provided them fans and somewhere with coolers also. So all these arrangements have been made to combat this heat wave.
With the meteorological department warning of continuing rising mercury, the real challenge is to ensure that the voting percentage doesn't slump down.
It's a challenge for everyone, including the Election Commission of India, the district administration and the political parties, to ensure that voters come out in large numbers despite the weather vagaries and exercise their franchise. So far, the Indian voter has ensured that he overcomes all obstacles, man-made or otherwise, and help democracy thrive in India. With camera person Mor Mukut Sharma, Ravi Dhiman, DD India in Dharwad, Karnataka.
In a one-of-its-kind initiative for voter awareness, the Gujarat Chief Electoral Officer has come up with a virtual voting experience in the metaverse ahead of the actual voting day. The election metaverse serves as a thorough guide to the voting process, empowering voters with essential information, providing virtual training of the entire voting process. The election metaverse aims at increasing the youth engagement and also encourages the youth to participate in the voting system. Well, the experience has been designed by GTPL and developed by the Virtual Heights Metaverse team in Ahmedabad. DD India's Meghna Dev reports.
You must have seen the Election Commission using very innovative and creative ideas for their sweep activities to encourage the voters to vote, to educate them on how to vote and what is the procedure to vote. The Election Commission is now using metaverse so that the people who want to vote, the people who go to vote, can use it to educate themselves, especially the first-time voters can use it to educate themselves and know the procedure to vote. We are joined in by Siddharth Waghela, who is the new business head for GTPL, who has come up with this video, and a whole team of professionals who has worked day and night for the last 15 days to ensure that this video is more educational and the video can also be accessed very easily on their desktops and their phones. Siddharth, can you please tell me more on what is it about, what is the concept like, and why metaverse?
So metaverse is technically you can say a simulator for the new generation for how to vote, what to vote, and to give them a feel, touch that they don't get baffled when they go for voting for the first time.
Right.
It is not only for the first time user, but also it can be used for the new generation who are more handy with mobile phones, who are more handy with VR, who are more handy with desktops, so they can feel, touch, and have a total understanding of how the officials and what are the roles of them.
How did you present it to the Election Commission in Gujarat so that they have approved of using this metaverse, because it's the first time in India we are seeing such an educational content for voter awareness?
We thought that let us push the election more, and the youngsters who are, there are 13 lakh voters, young voters, for the first time voters
yes,
in Gujarat. So to boost them up and to give a new generation somewhat idea that how your next election or upcoming election would be when you are ready to vote.
So we are also joined in by Hiten, who handles the tech here. According to you, how many youngsters are today coming on metaverse? Is there a huge number of youngsters who actually access metaverse or gaming for all of that?
Yes, you know very well, like the young boys, okay, who they are using a mobile app right now for playing games, right? Okay, so all people, all the new young generation have the phones, okay. So that's why we created this metaverse so they can access the app easily with the link they can open and they can see the environment in the gaming zone, right?
Okay.
And they are aware of it, so it is very easy for them to guide them and give the instruction like how to work.
Well, still to come here on DD India News Hour. The US military expects to complete a floating pier for aid to Gaza by mid-May. Germany and New Zealand are cooperating. They've signed an MOU on Antarctica. And protests outside the US Embassy in Burkina Faso's capital, Ouagadougou.
Joining us today on Champions Speak is none other than legendary goalkeeper P.R. Sujesh, also known as the Great Wall of Indian hockey.
We are just polishing all the areas now. We are just focusing on the best part, the strong areas first, and we are working hard on that.
Penalty shootouts often decide crucial matches in hockey. What goes through your mind during those moments?
Penalty shootout, it's a give and take policy. Then automatically that pressure comes to me.
With the evolving tactics and strategies in modern hockey, how do you adapt your game to stay ahead of the competition?
We can find out our positive and negativity from there. So we do have our homework.
Why is Pakistan mired perpetually in deep crisis, social, economic, political? And what is the impact of this troubled, failing or failed state on its neighborhood and on India in particular?
The fundamental problem is that the Pakistan army, which plays an outsized role in its polity and its economy, sees itself as the solution, whereas it is the problem. And the whole issue that we face now is that the army itself is unwilling to restructure itself and help restructure the economy, which is really critical to restructuring Pakistan.
E-waste is growing phenomenally in India, and I think it's time that we reconsidered our consumption patterns.
We need to formalize repairs, we need to formalize refurbishments, and by law also they are permitted.
It expands their repair network. The consumer gets benefit because it's cheaper and it's accessible, and the guy is able to make a living.
Government policies and in fact the road engineering policy says the surface road should have a better product. Adding the crumb rubber to the bitumen overcome with its inherent weaknesses.
I felt the urge to try to change something, especially multi-layered plastics can't be recycled. It's a huge burden on our environment.
Well, you're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn, and now let's go across and talk to our correspondents who are covering India's elections for a perspective on what's in store for the May 7 polls. We are joined by Akshay Dongre, India's DD India correspondent from Bhopal, Tapas Bhattacharya, DD India correspondent who is joining us from Dhubri in Assam. Well, Akshay, the BJP has won Bhopal by huge margins, holding on to the seat since 1989. And in 2019, the Congress had fielded the former Chief Minister Digvijay Singh, but it made little impact or little difference. So tell us, a bit about the candidates this time round, Alok Sharma and Arun Srivastava. Put this all into context for us.
Well, both of these candidates, Alok Sharma and Arun Srivastava, are new faces as far as the seat of Bhopal is concerned for the Lok Sabha elections. Both of them are contesting for the first time earlier, the candidate from the Bharatiya Janata Party, Alok Sharma, was a mayor of Bhopal. He's well aware of the municipal issues. Arun Shrivastava is a senior Congress leader. He's a lawyer as well, and both of them are contesting on a seat from Bhopal for the first time for the Lok Sabha elections. However, there are other seats as well that are making news, and in fact, these seats are in a way bigger than Bhopal in terms of the candidates. That include the Vidisha seat, from where Shivraj Singh Chauhan, the former Chief Minister of the state and a 5-time Member of Parliament from the state, is contesting polls against the Indian National Congress candidate, who's also a former Member of Parliament from Vidisha. That is Pratap Bhanu Sharma. Now, this is one seat from the other seat that we are talking about is the Guna, from where Jyotiraditya Scindia is contesting, who is also Union Aviation Minister. He was earlier in the Congress party. He shifted then to the Bharatiya Janata Party from Rajgarh. Another important seat, former Chief Minister Digvijay Singh is contesting from Indian National Congress against the incumbent Member of Parliament Rodbal Nagar. So the contest is quite difficult at this time for the Indian National Congress, especially because of the fact that just ahead of the elections, we have been seeing that a lot of defections are taking place. Already, the INC does not have a stronghold in the state of Madhya Pradesh. Their track record is not very good in terms of getting seats in the Lok Sabha. Last time in 2019, they had got 28 out of 20. They had lost 28 out of 29 seats. BJP had won 28 seats out of 29. In 2014, the BJP had won 27 out of 29 seats, and even in 2009, when the Congress party was in fact in majority, the Bharatiya Janata Party had outperformed the Congress party by winning 16 out of 29 seats. So that is the historical context of how the state has been going to polls. And this time around, once again, while there is a tough contest going on between these two, the defections by the Congress party is not a good sign for the other candidates as well.
Indeed. Let's go across to Tapas, who's joining us from Dhubri in Assam. It's a Muslim-dominated area, Tapas, isn't it? And it's an important constituency also, because it's being seen as an AIUDF stronghold. So are there any challenges then to Badruddin Ajmal, who's been holding the seat for the last 2 terms?
You're bang on the point that Badruddin Ajmal is a front runner. He's gunning for his 4th term thrice. He has won this particular seat. But yes, there is quite a considerable number of candidates that are coming, and especially Congress candidate. He has Mr. Rakibul Hassan is there, and we went to one of the rallies where Congress leader Ms. Priyanka Gandhi was there, and we saw the kind of turnout, and we saw that almost more than 60 to 70,000 people turned up. So that kind of is an ominous sign for Badruddin Ajmal. Also, we have Indian nominee Javed Islam. Is Indian nominee. AGP has put their candidate with the BJP backing his candidature. Now, there is an interesting point. You have mentioned the fact that it's a Muslim-dominated area, but then there are 2 kinds of Muslim, and there's a stark differences that is currently there. We were there and we saw one. There is about Desi Muslim, who were people who were there in Assam for long period of time, and then the other one who came from Bangladesh immigrant Muslim, and they have actually a sizable number of their population here in Dhubri and nearby Barpeta area. So that actually is going to be a major point of focus. What we were told is that most of the people who are Bangladeshi immigrant are actually supporting Badruddin Ajmal, and the Desi Muslims are actually going ahead for both the Congress nominee as well as Indian nominee. Now, that it will be interesting to see how things are done. If there is a shift in voting percentage or voting manner from Bangladeshi immigrant Muslim to, let's say, because a lot we're talking about Badruddin Ajmal not taking care of their interest. In fact, a lot of people said that he's not from Dhubri constituency per se. He comes from a different constituency. So they believe that Dhubri hasn't seen much of a development in the last couple of terms of Badruddin Ajmal. So that's something that may be a major point of contention, and we might see some sort of change in power structure if if the voters turn out the way they were talking about and the way we saw the kind of rally that the Congress nominee had. So all these things are all, as I mentioned, these are all permutation and combination how things will pan out on the day of election, when it's 7th of May, the 4th constituency of Assam, and will go to polls in the last phase. But it will be interesting to see how people in Dhubri vote. And also remember, out of the 4 constituency, in 3 there are 3 corner contests that is taking place. It's only in Guwahati that it's a direct contest between Congress and BJP.
Yes, let's go across once again to Akshay. Akshay, you did mention about, a lot of the people leaving one particular party, joining another, happening at this time just before the elections. It's been happening for some time actually. Why is this exodus taking place within, let's say, the Congress party?
Well, see, Mark, if you look at the organizational structure here in the state of Madhya Pradesh, then the Congress party has been in opposition for a very long time. It was only for a brief period of time before this last government that Congress was in power for some time. Then again defections took place. BJP again was able to form government, as a lot of member of legislative assemblies shifted from the Congress party to the BJP. The Congress party leveled allegations of horse trading. The BJP said that if the leaders from your party want to come and join our party, then it's not our fault. You have to put your house in order first. So if we look at the last 2 to 3 decades, then the state of Madhya Pradesh has been considered a saffron citadel. It has been considered a stronghold for the Bharatiya Janata Party. The Congress Party has been for the majority of times, the Congress Party has been in either the opposition, and when it comes to Lok Sabha elections, they have been getting much lesser seats than the Bharatiya Janata Party, especially in the last election, where the Congress Party has been devastated with just 2 and 1 seats in 2014 and 2019 elections. This time around as well, what we have seen from the legislative assembly elections, the Congress party has not in fact recovered their losses from the last 2 decades. There is still a lot of hopelessness in the Congress camp, and perhaps that's the reason why a lot of candidates or a lot of leaders from the party are looking for better alternatives. And while the Congress party has been saying that the people who have left the party are opportunists, but in terms of wins, the Congress party has little to show in the past 2 decades in the state of Madhya Pradesh.
Yeah, we leave it there. Thank you very much, Akshay Dongre and Tapas Bhattacharya. Thank you for joining us from Bhopal and Dhubri and giving us an understanding of the ground situation. Still to come here on DD India News Hour, we'll get you an update on the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And floods wreak havoc in Kenya. Also, the Japanese foreign minister is in Sri Lanka.
Why is Pakistan mired perpetually in deep crisis, social, economic, political, and what is the impact of this troubled, failing or failed state on its neighborhood and on India in particular?
The fundamental problem is that the Pakistan army, which plays an outsized role in its polity and its economy, sees itself as the solution, whereas it is the problem. And the whole issue that we face now is that the army itself is unwilling to restructure itself and help restructure the economy, which is really critical to restructuring Pakistan.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn. Here's a recap of our main stories. High voltage campaigning is on for the 3rd phase of India's parliamentary election. Top leaders are on the campaign trail, traversing the length and breadth of India. The world struggles to cope with climate change-induced extreme weather patterns. Heat wave sweeps India. Floods and rain in Kenya and Texas. 39 killed, 70 missing in rain-hit Brazil. In an attempt to halt almost 7 months of conflict with Israel, Hamas delegation to travel to Cairo to resume Gaza ceasefire talks with a positive spirit. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Japan, Yoko Kamikawa, reached Colombo on an official 2-day visit to Sri Lanka. During this visit, Yoko Kamikawa said that Japan looks forward to further supporting Sri Lanka's development. Speaking at a joint media briefing along with her Sri Lankan counterpart, Kamikawa noted that Japan is keen to support the crisis-stricken nation by resuming existing yen loan projects once the MOU on debt restructuring is signed and Sri Lanka's intention to conclude bilateral agreement is confirmed. She also noted the strategic importance of Sri Lanka's location in the Indian Ocean and called for further strengthening ties for a free and open Indo-Pacific. The Japanese Foreign Minister is also scheduled to call on Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe and Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardene later in the day. Notably, Japan alongside India played a key role in Sri Lanka's debt restructuring, which was crucial for the IMF package. And we are joined by Dr. Ahmed Muin Faruqi, who is joining us from Colombo with more on this story. Dr. Faruqi, just put this into context for us. The Japanese Foreign Minister coming to Sri Lanka. How important is this in terms of sending a signal that that Japan, at least apart from India, is supporting Sri Lanka's road to recovery?
Mark, you see, primarily speaking, if we are looking at the entire perspective from 2022 onwards, Sri Lanka went through a very difficult phase with the economic crisis. And prior to that, it also had gone through difficult circumstances, not just with the COVID pandemic, which of course hit the entire world, but also because of 2019's Easter attacks. Thereafter, the tourism sector in the island plummeted. And thereafter, the economic crisis, it spiraled into a huge behemoth, which Sri Lankan government could not handle at that point of time. And that was the precise time when India stepped in and provided the huge humanitarian assistance of about $4 billion. Not just India, even Japan came forward alongside India and France to come together on the official creditors committee, which came together to discuss ways and means to restructure the debt which Sri Lanka owed to its bilateral creditors as well as the other external creditors. Now, as of now, the domestic debt optimization has been completed. The discussions for the bilateral external debt have been completed, but an MOU on this regard is yet to be signed. And this is where the Japanese Foreign Affairs Minister has spoken today, saying that Japan looks forward to an early conclusion of the MOU and signing of it with the creditors, and thereafter the next steps would be taken to further strengthen the economy. And that's something very crucial, because you see, India also wants Sri Lanka to be safe, to be prosperous. It is in the best interests for everyone in the region, in the Indian Ocean region. And that's something which even Japan has said, that Japan looks forward to a free and open Indo-Pacific, which includes the Indian Ocean region also.
Absolutely. And, the importance that the Japanese Foreign Minister gave to the strategic location of Sri Lanka in the Indian Ocean. The idea also that it comes at a time when there has been moves to counter China's aggression on the seas. To what extent, can we see Japan's cooperation gaining ground in Sri Lanka, and what areas of cooperation are we likely to see?
Mark, you see, Japan and Sri Lanka, they have had very good diplomatic ties over the last 75 years. Not just this, we also are aware that Japan has been helping Sri Lanka through various, projects. One of which was LRT, which had been stalled because of the economic crisis, and prior to that because of the COVID pandemic. But now Ms. Kamikawa has mentioned that they will be looking at ways how to resume the LRT project, which will help connectivity in Sri Lanka. There's one part of it. On the other end, with regard to the maritime cooperation, yes, it's a very crucial area where Sri Lanka has, as a chair of IORA, has talked about safety and security, while at the same time India does not want an undue influence of China here. Now, to this effect, Sri Lanka has banned entry of any foreign vessels on its ports or within its exclusive economic zone, the EEZ. Now, this is a major development and very positive, kind of a story for India, because India has been talking about a possibility of dual-use ships coming to the Indian Ocean region, which can be used for military purposes from Chinese side. Now, this is something which is very, very critical, because this cannot happen in India's backyard.
Yes.
Now, to this effect, Japan has also promised today that it will provide Sri Lanka with a vessel which is equipped with sonar, which can do the charting of the maritime, the entire region in the Indian Ocean. So this will help Sri Lanka, because they do not have the wherewithal, they do not have the vessels, and they constantly depend on other vessels from China or from various other countries for this assistance. Now, with Japan providing this, it will strengthen Sri Lanka to chart its maritime areas on its own, and that's a very positive kind of a development. Mark.
We'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmed Fairuqi. Thank you very much for being with us. Now, meanwhile, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has rejected the US President Joe Biden's comment that xenophobia was hobbling the Indian economy's growth. And this is according to an Indian daily which is reputed and had reported on Saturday. In fact, Dr. Jaishankar said at a roundtable hosted by the Economic Times newspaper on Friday that India's economy is not faltering and that it has historically been a society that is very open. Now some news about aid to Gaza, and the United States expects to have on-the-ground arrangements in Gaza ready for humanitarian workers to start delivering food, treatment for starving children and other urgent assistance by early mid-month. This is when the Americans believe that they are going to complete that floating pier for the aid. This is a U.S. official making that statement, the Agency for International Aid had said. So talks also of a truce in Gaza, the conflict, these talks are making progress. Hamas is sending a delegation to Cairo to discuss a truce deal. As per the Egyptian sources, Hamas and CIA officials will meet Egyptian mediators on Saturday, hours after the US's CIA Director William Burns arrived in the Egyptian capital. Hamas said that it was sending a delegation to Cairo to discuss a truce deal along with the release of hostages in Gaza. Egypt, Qatar and the United States have been leading efforts to mediate between Israel and Hamas to broker a deal for a ceasefire. And the White House spokesperson Karine Jean-Pierre said that the U.S. has not seen a comprehensive plan on Israel's thinking for a potential military operation in Rafah on Friday.
We've been pretty clear. We haven't seen a comprehensive plan, as it relates to their thinking on the Rafah operations. We have been also clear that of our concerns of any major operations, military operations into Rafah, we have said, and you all have heard us say, there's more than 1 million Palestinian civilians living seeking refuge in Rafah, and we want to make sure that they are their lives are protected, and so that is important. And we want to continue to have the conversations that we've been having with the Israeli government.
Let's get your news now from around the world. And New Zealand's Antarctic Agency signed a memorandum of understanding with Germany's Alfred Wegener Institute. This is to foster cooperation between the two polar science bodies. Signing the MOU came amid China's growing presence in Antarctica. Hundreds of protesters gathered outside the U.S. Embassy in Burkina Faso's capital on Friday, calling for the Americans to leave the West African country. The demonstration followed a joint statement by the U.S. and Britain on Monday, expressing grave concern over reports that Burkinabe forces had killed hundreds of civilians in February. Splashes of color and light are on display in New York City as Sotheby's and Christie's unveiled the top lots of their big spring auctions on Friday. Items of eminent painters and artists Hockney, Bacon, Monet and Van Gogh to also get featured at the New York Spring Auction Sales. The Spring Art Auction is set to kick off on the 13th of May. The Russia-Ukraine conflict update now, and Russian drones struck Ukrainians' second largest city, Kharkiv, early on Saturday. According to officials, the attack sparked fire in an office building and injured 3 people, 2 of whom are being treated in hospital. The regional governor, writing on Telegram messaging app, said that emergency services were involved in bringing the fire under control. Hope Hicks, a former top aide of the former U.S. President Donald Trump, testified on Friday at the criminal hush money trial. She said that Donald Trump had told her to deny Stormy Daniels' allegation in the final days of the 2016 presidential election. Hicks was intimately involved with the final stages of Trump's successful campaign for the White House in 2016, when the hush money payments to the adult star Stormy Daniels were allegedly made. Trump pleaded not guilty on 34 counts of falsifying business records to conceal the payment. He has denied all wrongdoing. However, the 12 jurors and 6 alternates have yet to hear from the main players in the case. These include Daniels herself, as well as Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen. The defense argues that the hush money payment was made to spare Trump's family embarrassment and not to protect his presidential campaign. Residents across India have been grappling with searing temperatures as a scorching heat wave has gripped several parts of the country. Authorities had said heat wave to severe heat wave conditions were likely to persist in a few places of India till the 5th of May. Meanwhile, light to moderate rainfall with isolated thunderstorms, these are forecast over northeast India during the next few days. Similar conditions are also likely to continue in Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, also till Sunday. And in Delhi, the weather department had predicted cloudy weather with the possibility of a drizzle during the day. In Indonesia, search and rescue operations are underway after floods and landslides triggered by heavy rains killed at least 14 people in the South Sulawesi province. Over 115 people have been evacuated in the region so far. The floods in South Sulawesi's Lubu Regency have affected over 2,000 families and damaged more than 1,900 houses. Indonesia's search and rescue agency, however, said that the water levels have since started to recede in some areas. Heavy rains across Kenya have killed at least 210 people since March. Weeks of torrential downpours have triggered landslides and washed away homes across East Africa, raising fears of more floods and higher casualties. The heavy rains continued to pound the East African nation and its neighbors. Heavy rains battering southern Brazil have killed 39 people, and the death toll is expected to rise as 68 people are still missing. Brazil's southernmost state of Rio Grande do Sul is grappling with one of the worst storms in recent years, prompting the state government to declare a state of public calamity. Authorities say that the havoc has affected more than 20,000 people. And the storm also triggered landslides in the region. The president of Brazil had visited that area. He discussed rescue operations with the governor on Friday. Now, heavy rain has also brought flooding to parts of southeastern Texas. The Texas governor in the United States has issued a disaster declaration for the area. Flood is expected to continue in parts of central and east Texas through the week and also next week, that is. Authorities have evacuated some residents living along the banks of the East Fork of the San Jacinto River, and this is as of Friday, as the river swelled to 75 feet above sea level. So still to come here on DD India News Hour, the Madrid Open throws up unexpected men's finalists. Japan wins the Under-23 Asia Cup. And UEFA agrees to increase squad sizes from 23 to 26 players.
Joining us today on Champions Speak is none other than legendary goalkeeper P.R. Sujesh, also known as the Great Wall of Indian hockey.
We are just polishing all the areas now. We are just focusing on the best part, the strong areas first, and we are working hard on that.
Penalty shootouts often decide crucial matches in hockey. What goes through your mind during those moments?
Penalty shootout, it's a give and take policy. Then automatically that pressure comes to me.
With the evolving tactics and strategies in modern hockey, how do you adapt your game to stay ahead of the competition?
We can find out our positive and negativity from there. So we do have our homework.
Why is Pakistan mired perpetually in deep crisis, social, economic, political? And what is the impact of this troubled, failing or failed state on its neighborhood and on India in particular?
The fundamental problem is that the Pakistan army, which plays an outsized role in its polity and its economy, sees itself as the solution, whereas it is the problem. And the whole issue that we face now is that the army itself is unwilling to restructure itself and help restructure the economy, which is really critical to restructuring Pakistan.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn. The Consul General of India in Dubai hosted the weekend open house session on Saturday, marking another milestone in the community outreach program. The Consul General Satish Kumar Sivan chaired this event that was attended by the 100 Indian nationals and the team of legal experts and community volunteers were also present to assist in queries related to consular and legal matters affecting Indian expatriates in the UAE. Approximately 3.5 million Indians are residing in the UAE. A majority of the Indians are concentrated in Dubai and the Northern Emirates. The open house serves as a vital communication channel between the mission and the diaspora. The Embassy of India in Muscat brought down the curtains on its landmark 8-month Mandavi to Muscat lecture series this week, concluding an insightful exploration of the Indian diaspora's deep-rooted connections with Oman spanning centuries. Over 300 attendees from Omani Indian and Indian Omani communities witnessed the culmination of the Al-Wadi Al-Kabir, which featured scholars, historians and prominent individuals sharing profound insights. When it comes to small passenger vehicles, there is little question that the future lies with battery electric cars. But as the size of the vehicle increases, hydrogen has been floated as an alternative energy source. Hong Kong has launched its first hydrogen-powered buses, part of the city's plans to achieve net zero emissions by 2050. DD India's Laura Westbrook reports.
This is one of the first hydrogen-powered buses here in Hong Kong. And buses like these are actually already in use in the United States, Korea and Japan. Now, air pollution levels in Hong Kong often exceed WHO levels, and the city ranked 68th in the world's most polluted cities last year. One of the big contributors to air pollution is diesel and petrol vehicles, and so solutions like this are aimed at tackling that problem. This bus cost around $1 million US, and the plan is to bring around 6 by the end of the year. But they aren't running very frequently at the moment. This one is just making one journey today. You do notice, though, that the bus is relatively quiet and the journey is pretty smooth compared to those loud and noisy diesel buses.
Both electric and hydrogen fuel cell vehicles have similar propulsion systems where they store energy to power an electric motor. That means there are no emissions.
It's quiet, not very noisy. It's better for environment. It's no emission.
One of the advantages of hydrogen includes shorter refueling times compared to charging an electric vehicle. This bus takes about 10 minutes and allows the bus to travel up to 400 kilometers. Experts say the heavy batteries of electric buses make it harder to navigate steep hills, so hydrogen might also have the edge there. However, hydrogen is costly to buy and there are far fewer refueling stations than recharging points in most places. It's also highly flammable, so needs stringent safety protocols. Another thing to bear in mind, while these buses don't emit carbon on the streets, the vast majority of the world's hydrogen supply comes from burning fossil fuels.
This is just a start point, okay? Just utilize what we have now
But in the future, I believe that will change to green hydrogen. I think that's basically the future of real zero emission buses.
Getting a supply of hydrogen that is made using renewable energy to make it truly green will take time. In the meantime, experts say having buses like these on the roads is all about testing the technology and seeing how viable it is in cities like Hong Kong. Laura Westbrook in Hong Kong, reporting for DD India.
Well, let's take a look at other stories making news now. India's President Draupadi Murmu arrived in Simla on a 5-day tour of Himachal Pradesh. Upon landing in Shimla, she was received by the Governor Shiv Pratap Shukla and the Chief Minister Sukhwinder Singh Sukhu. The President was accorded a guard of honor upon her arrival. Responding to a distress call, the Indian naval ship Sumedha, mission deployed for anti-piracy operation in the Arabian Sea, provided critical medical assistance to an Iranian FV for a near drowning case of one of its crew members. There were more than 20 Pakistani nationals on board. The Indian Air Force on Friday received delivery of the second 56 C-295 aircraft, which are set to replace the old aircrafts named Avro 748. Now, this has happened in September 2021. India had formalized that acquisition of 56 Airbus aircraft to replace the legacy Avro fleet of the Indian Air Force. Keel laying ceremony of the first next-generation offshore patrol vessels was held in Goa Shipyard Limited in Goa on Friday. The ceremony was attended by the Controller Warship Production and Acquisition Vice Admiral B. Sivakumar and the Chairman and MD of Goa Shipyard Limited, B.K. Upadhyay, and other senior officials from the Indian Navy. The sports news quickly. In cricket, Royal Challengers Bengaluru will host Gujarat Titans in the 52nd match of the Indian Premier League at the Chinnaswamy Stadium on Saturday. Kolkata Knight Riders defeated Mumbai Indians by 24 runs at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai on Friday. Kolkata Knight Riders are set a target of 170 runs for Mumbai Indians, but MI got all out for 145 runs, falling short by 24 runs off the target. For Kolkata, Venkatesh Iyer scored 70. Mumbai's own batters struggled. They struggled, and despite Surya Kumar's effort, which was valiant, Stark's brilliance ultimately sealed Mumbai's fate. The Russian 7th seed Andrei Rublev has reached the final of the Madrid Open with a 6-4, 6-3 win over Taylor Fritz on Friday. Rublev had begun as the highest, in fact, he's the highest seed left in the tournament at the semi-final stage, and he was all smiles after his straight set win. The 26-year-old will now face the favorite to claim his, he will be the favorite to claim this title for a second year. The Russian 7th seed was going to face the Canadian Felix Auger-Aliassime, who has qualified for the final after his opponent Zeri Lehecka had retired in the semi-final because of a suspected back injury. At the Under-23 Asia Cup, Japan edged past Uzbekistan to lift its second title as substitute Fuki Yamada struck in the 91st minute and Leo Kobuka made the late penalty save to earn Japan a 1-0 victory. The dramatic finish came at the end of the tense encounter, and it saw the Japanese win the title for the first time since 2016, when the Samurai Blue had also lifted the trophy on Qatari soil. The European Football's Governing Council, which is UEFA, they've agreed to increase the squad sizes from 23 to 26 players for the upcoming Euro 2024 tournament in Germany. The international managers had voiced concerns when a return to the pre-COVID-19 23 player limit had been confirmed by UEFA, even though it was increased to 26 for the Euro 2020 and the World Cup 2022. However, this increase does not represent an obligation for participating national associations. Participating countries have until June 7 to provide UEFA with a squad list containing a minimum of 23 players and a maximum of 26 players. That's about it here on DD India News Hour, but let's know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, the latest updates are available on DD India mobile app. You have to scan it on the QR code that's on your screen, both available on Android and iOS platforms. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. My name is Mark Lynn. From all of us here, thanks for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.